So I don't like to start things off on a negative, but we do need to talk about something that went down not last night, it was the night before. It was a big thing in regards to NXT because our NXT champion got beaten in like 2 minutes. Not even 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes. It was like 1 minute 40. He got rolled up by Jeff Hardy on Monday Night Raw. It was pretty sad, wasn't it? Look, we've got nothing against Jeff Hardy. We love him. No more words. That's all great. But Karrion Kross was undefeated on NXT, beating everybody. Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, Finn Balor twice. All these guys now look like goobers because he got rolled up. He got tricked pretty much on his first night on the main roster. Now everyone watching NXT will just think, well, you big guy that's battered everyone gets tricked really easily. He's not very good, so it makes the belt look stupid, makes all those people that got beaten before look stupid, and it makes Kross look stupid, and I feel stupid for reviewing this show. Everyone just feels stupid. That's not a good way to start things off. But we're not going to get too hung up on that just yet because we've got loads of other stuff that we need to talk about from last night's NXT, including an NXT Women's Championship match. It was a biggie. So without further ado, I am Gareth here from WhatCulture Wrestling, and these are the ups and downs for this week's NXT. Honestly, it's quite easy to forget in all this madness of all the stuff that went on with Karrion Kross a couple of days ago that before that, everyone was talking about him choking out Samoa Joe last week. That was the big narrative. Oh my God, he provoked Joe. What are we going to do? What's Joe going to do? Well, we got an answer because he came down to the ring straight away, Samoa Joe, and he was like, Karrion, I'm going to kick your ass, Karrion. More specifically, he said, tick-tock, guess who's come to smash your clock? Straight away, Regal was having none of this. He came out and he was like, no, this is not what I brought you here to do. You're not going to go and beat up random people. You're not a performer. You're an enforcer. And then they just started bickering. Regal was like, you're a referee. He didn't provoke you as a management. He provoked you as a referee. And Joe was like, this is just technicalities. Technicalities are not going to keep Karrion Kross from these hands. He's not Braun Strowman, but you get the point. This entire bit was just then signed off by Samoa Joe saying that all of it, all the chaos between him and Kross was going to be ended tonight. And one of them was going to get put to sleep, or more specifically, somebody was going to get put to sleep. So maybe you can see where this is going, maybe not. But Joe just being riled up, all this madness at the start, it gets a little bit of an up because I was a bit excited. We then jump to a video package of Xia Li being like, this match that I've got tonight, this main event match for the NXT Women's Championship, it's the biggest match of my life, and I'm gonna kick Raquel Gonzalez's ass. And you know what? I would not put it past that fiery lady. It was time for tag team action, and the Diamond Mine were taking on Bobby Fish and Kushida. And if you've been watching NXT over the last couple of weeks, you'll know the Diamond Mine have been terrorizing the likes of Bobby Fish and Kushida, so now's the time to get some revenge. And the match was pretty damn good. It's gonna get an up. Because quite simply put, Tyler Rust, Roderick Strong, Kushida and Bobby Fish are four of the best technical wrestlers on the roster right now, so they were never going to have a bad match. You had Fish just using Roderick Strong as like his own personal knee pad. He was kneeing the absolute hell out of him. And then there was a moment where Rust and Kushida put together like a sequence of kicks, of reversals. There was like a transition into an ankle lock and like a jumping net breaker. It was really good. It was really smooth. I think Tyler Rust, I think he's got something, you know, but that may be proven to be a bit contradictory when we get to the finish. Because after Bobby Fish, who'd also been fish hooked earlier in the night, after he'd tackled his old UE buddy Roderick Strong out of the ring, they were out of the equation. So Kushida isolated Tyler Rust's elbow. When you do that and anywhere on the arm, you know it's only a matter of time before the hoverboard lock gets locked in, and it did, and it happened, and Tyler Rust tapped out. It was pretty much inevitable at that point, but it does leave me with a few questions going forward. Because Diamond Mine still feel like a fairly new element on this NXT show. They've had a couple of decent wins, but this was the first real big hurdle that they had in front of them, and they fell at it. Maybe this is the moment where Tyler Rust gets exposed and the team turn in on him and maybe even out him from the Diamond Mine, or they can look inwards to improve and just turn him into this big old badass. That could be another route we could go down. I'm very interested to see where we go next. Jump to LA Knight and Cameron Grimes arriving at the CWC. They were in LA Knight's car, his Corvette, and they were bickering about the route that they'd taken to the CWC. They'd apparently taken too long to get there, and then Cameron Grimes was told to go and get the bags out of LA Knight's car, and then Drake Maverick just thought, you know what, I'm going to help this guy because I'm a nice dude. But that got him absolutely nowhere, because LA Knight just squared up to him and said, hey, that's not your job, he's the butler, I've made him be my butler, so me and you, we're going to have a match later on. Really cool announcement after this. We are going to get NXT TakeOver 36, and for what I believe is the first time ever, it's going to be after a main roster show. So we're going to have SummerSlam on Saturday the 21st of August, then NXT TakeOver 36, they've obviously just ran out of cool names again, they're going to have that on the Sunday, so that's going to be really cool, really unique. It might even make NXT TakeOver feel bigger than SummerSlam SummerSlam, though I doubt it because SummerSlam's in a big stadium, but it's still pretty cool. It's getting up. Odyssey Jones had a quick promo video. It just showed him battering people, really. Just showed him splatting people, running through people. And if you listen to the word on the grapevine right now, it is that Odyssey Jones is being considered potentially for a call-up to the main roster. Really quick call-up because he's had a few dark matches on Raw and SmackDown. So maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, but we're gonna see him in action later on in the breakout tournament. Cut to Samoa Joe pacing backstage, and he was waiting for Karrion Kross because he was determined to be the first man to meet him, because Samoa Dorman is the gimmick we're going with now. We had Frankie Monet in action. Thank goodness, thank the Lord, she was on the show last night. She was taking on Jacy Jayne in a match, and the match itself is going to get a nice up for everything that it achieved in Little Isolation. But Frankie Monet did not get things her own way. Not like the way, it just was Monet not getting her way. That was a weird tangent. She did make her way down to the ring with Jessica May. She was like a new sidekick, and Robert Stone just showed up later on, kind of unannounced and a little bit unwanted. But Jacy Jayne was determined to make this night all about her. She did like a flying enziguri into a pump kick, and it was looking pretty good for her. And then Mandy Rose just popped up and she started lying on the announce desk. She just lay there. She was like, I'm gonna watch this match and do some scouting. We don't know what the scouting's for. It could be for a new super team. It could just be for a new group of people to play Warzone with her. We don't know. Mandy Rose lying on said announce desk seemed to distract Jacy Jayne though, because she was trying to show off, she was trying to get in Mandy Rose's good books, whatever they are, and that opened the door for a glam slam from Frankie Monet. She won the match, which is really good for that new faction. It makes them look really strong. Frankie Monet keeps climbing to the top of this mountain, but we're still no wiser, and we have no real knowledge as to why Mandy Rose has just jumped back to NXT and what the hell she's doing here. We had a quick backstage interview. It was Johnny Gargano talking about how he was dealing with his loss to Karrion Kross last week, and he said he's been alright, he's been okay, he's a bit underwhelmed obviously, and then Kyle O'Reilly came into frame and he was like, right, I've heard you boys have been saying a lot of crap about me, I'm not happy about it. Johnny was like, I didn't say anything, and Austin Theory was like, sorry, that was me, I have a really big mouth. So O'Reilly challenged Thick Theory to a match, and that is exactly what was going to go down later on in the night. And then Johnny just turned to Austin and he was like, sorry man, you got to kind of deal with this yourself. I dealt with Karrion Kross, well, trying to deal with Karrion Kross last week on my own, so you've got to follow in my footsteps, believe in yourself. And then he spanked him and left, and the spank was just enough to make this stupid idiot giggle, so we're going to bring that up. We get a 63% on the Gargano meter this week because I'm a fool. Another quick announcement, NXT is going to be moving over to SciFi for 2 weeks only, and it may or may not have something to do with like a tiny little festival sports thing known as the Olympics. Yeah, I've never heard of it either. Wade Barrett once again was backstage having a sit-down interview with a wrestler, but this time I really enjoyed it, whereas last week's I didn't like the whole Kyle O'Reilly one. I really enjoyed Bronson Reed just bearing his soul a little bit and explaining why he wants a piece of Adam Cole, so it's going to get an up. Honestly, it's not every day you see a wrestler who's that big and that powerful and that dominant just be empathetic and be a babyface. He was like, I let everyone down who'd supported me for so many years when I lost my belt, so I want to take on the best now. I want to improve myself, and Adam Cole is the best of the best, and that's why I want to fight him. Sometimes it is just that simple. Reed wants to fight Cole, let them fight. It's going to be the main event next week, and I am excited. Like we said earlier, Austin Theory was set to take on Kyle O'Reilly. That's what happened next. The match itself is going to get a massive up. It was not just up-worthy though. This was Yellow Highlighter of the Week. Up-worthy-able. Mostly because I really like Austin Theory's new music. I'm stupid, I know. No, to be honest, that was a lie. I really enjoyed the match. Like, the music was great, but the match itself, it told a really cool story because you had Austin Theory finally starting to show his maturity and starting to show that he was becoming his own performer, that he didn't have the way there to help him, to back him up, and he overpowered Kyle O'Reilly pretty early on. He kept stuffing takedowns. He even had a bit of domination on the floor against Mr. BJJ Grapple Master, Cool Kyle. But before long, Kyle started to use his intelligence, his in-ring IQ, you could say, and he suddenly got in a position where he could sarcastically slap Austin Theory in the face. He threw him out of the ring, and then it happened! I want it! Look, I can't even get too excited today because I am so hot, I am so sweaty, alright, and the sight of ice cream when it's this damn hot should be illegal, okay? I saw it, the DQ ice cream with the cookie dough and the vanilla, and it just looks so good. And I couldn't eat it because I was busy watching the show, so I don't just want it, I need it! I want it! And like I said, it was just more of the same after this. Austin Theory started to push back against O'Reilly, did like a jumping neckbreaker, but then he went for a drop kick and got caught in midair by O'Reilly, hitting this weird kind of transitioned knee bar onto the ground. It was mad. It was great. These two have such unexpected chemistry. But then, Austin Theory, he did just show a little bit of inexperience because out of nowhere, he decided to just pull the steps apart and expose the steel steps because he was going to use them and probably disqualify himself in the match. And this suddenly really ticked off Kyle O'Reilly. And you remember that obviously, yeah, he was put out of action because he got brain busted on some steel steps. He saw the steps being exposed and he was like, "You're not gonna do this to me again." And he went Super Saiyan. It was intense. He went on a Muay Thai frenzy. He started kneeing, kicking, just obliterating the legs and knee of Austin Theory. Got him on the floor, did his flying knee onto his knee, and then hit a knee bar. Tapped out Austin Theory, but then he just refused to let go. Kyle O'Reilly snapped. He's now officially Crazy with a K, Kyle. I really like this. I like the new angle where we're going with Kyle, and I cannot wait to see which stupid idiot decides to expose those steel steps again. We jump to a backstage interview with Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai talking to Mackenzie Mitchell. Mackenzie Mitchell was like, "Oh, how are you going to cope with Xia Li?" And she was like, "Well, everybody thinks they can cope with me and thinks they can beat me until they get in the ring with me, and then I'll whoop their asses. I'm not scared of the kicks. I'm not scared of Mei Ying, and, well, I am, so I don't know what the hell she's thinking, because they are terrifying. Have you seen her? She breathes green mist, and Xia Li is known to knock people out." Cannot believe these words are coming out of my mouth this week, but we had the Mariachi Madness musical segment after this. It is so getting it up. Now look, I hate to break it to you, but the actual Mariachi Madness musical, all the M's, did not actually happen because Santos Escobar loves to swerve us and break our damn hearts. But what it led to was just as good, to be honest, because he started ripping into Hit Row. He's like, "I'm not as pathetic as them, gonna come out here and play music to all you stupid people." So Hit Row came out and they just cut the best rap. They just cut an incredible rap on Legado, just started just knocking him down, saying they were really small. And then I like the little detail of story that was Isaiah Swerve Scott saying that he started up a group after he constantly failed against Legado to get the Cruiserweight Championship because they had the numbers game, that all-important numbers game, so it was a little bit of long-term storytelling. Who'd have thunk it? The two teams then started to brawl until it was Escobar and Swerve stood in the middle of the ring. They were just going down, they were throwing down, and Escobar went to smack Swerve with a guitar, but B-Fab stopped him. She grabbed the guitar off him, gave it to Swerve. Escobar fled, so Swerve just started smacking, I believe it was Raul Mendoza. He just pulverized him in the middle of the ring with the guitar. So, message sent really, and it's quite admirable that they've somehow managed to make this feud, which happened a lot last year, let's be honest, it was done to death last year, they managed to make this feud now feel pretty cool and pretty fresh, and I cannot wait to see it happen. Maybe in 12 months time, another 12 months time, these two can fight over the NXT Championship. Let it be! The way we're then stressing out backstage, they were like, everything's going to crap, we keep losing matches, and Indy Hartwell was like, "No, stop it, Candice LeRae, stop ripping us all down. If Austin Theory wants to go and kiss Dexter Lumis, he can." And Theory just kind of responded like me. I was like, what? Really heartbreakingly as well, Austin Theory went to do the no-look high five with the family, like with Johnny, and everyone ignored him. And he was like, "Guys, we're a family," and everyone ignored him. So he walked off with his bags, and is this the end? Is this the end of the way? Just like that? No, don't stop it. Cut backstage to Samoa Joe, who was still pacing. Yeah, this is a show-long thing. He's going to be there for a while. Breakout tournament action after this. It was Andre Chase taking on Odyssey Jones, who did his little promo thing earlier in the night, and you could kind of see where it was going. Like, Odyssey Jones is the guy with all the momentum behind him, is the guy that everyone keeps singing praises about, but Andre Chase, he got a few licks in, didn't he? The match deserves an up, so it's going to get an up because I really enjoyed the fact that Andre Chase was using his intelligence to cut down Odyssey Jones on the outside of the ring. He then hit a picture-perfect moonsault as well, but all this came after like a botched dive thing where Odyssey Jones just didn't really catch Chase as he should. He landed on his head and his neck and it was a bit like, I didn't like that. But that was fine because we carried on with the match. Odyssey Jones hit a splash in the corner and then like an altered rock bottom thing. We like threw him into the ropes, caught him and then did a rock bottom. He won the match. He was always going to win the match. And it's not hard to see why everyone's got so much stock in him because he looks like a guy that should not be able to move as fast as he does. For a guy of his size, he's very powerful. The former college football player could go far. We finally found out what MSK meant after this, but we didn't because just as they were going to tell us in a backstage interview, Imperium cut in with like a pre-recorded message and they were like, "The mat is sacred. Everyone else, you're all fools." And then when we cut back, they'd already said the story and we didn't find out. So I got really upset. But MSK versus Imperium is probably going to be a really good match. So a little shining light, but I need to know what this means. Pete Dunne and Oney Lorcan set up the match, which is inevitably going to happen between Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa. And that was pretty much it. They were like, do you want a scrap? Let's have a scrap. We're going to have a scrap. We finally got that LA Knight versus Drake Maverick match that was set up way earlier on in the show. We got the match. That's going to get an up, but mostly because of what happened after it. But I'll explain. Because LA Knight was mostly just distracted by the way Cameron Grimes was holding his belt. He wanted him to hold it a specific way. In the end, he got drop kicked into the belt and rolled up by Drake Maverick for the shock underdog win. Woo! But after this, LA Knight got really angry and started beating up Maverick and then ordered Grimes to hit him. And you don't want to hit Drake Maverick. Everyone was like, no, don't do it, Grimes. It looked like he wasn't going to do it. It looked like he was going to fight LA Knight instead and just go, I'm sick of being a butler. But that's not what happened. He remembered his obligations. He's an honourable man and he punched Drake Maverick, and it was really sad and it was really heartbreaking, but it means that this story continues for much longer, and it means we've added more fire to the flames that will roll Cameron Grimes to the top of the mountain. Can you see I'm invested? And then Samoa Joe went into a car because he saw a car pull up and he pulled out the wrong bald guy, and that is something what happens a lot. It happened to me last week. I got dragged out of the car by Samoa Joe. I was like, no, I'm not Karrion Kross. He went, and ran off. That always happens. It's a thing. But this bald guy did announce that Karrion Kross was at the CWC. He'd already snuck hnuck his way in. Then out of nowhere, it was the main event of the evening. It was Raquel Gonzalez defending her NXT Women's Championship against Xia Li. This match was really good. It's gonna get an up. It's just a shame about the damn ending. Because I really love Xia Li's tactics in this match. She suckered in Raquel Gonzalez for a big boot on the post. She then dissected her knee like she was some kind of surgeon. It was marvelous to watch. I really enjoyed it. But then as Gonzalez fight herself back into the match, she hit like a drop kick that I thought nearly took off Xia Li's head, and I was like, whew, it's not going to get more violent than that. But then he did, because Gonzalez hit like a spinning senton onto Li that looked really stiff. It was a bit too stiff, and it like took the wind clean out of Li, and it looked like she really injured her chest at one point. All the medical staff came in, the ref was like, no, back up, we need to really take a look at her. And it was pretty serious, and it took all the wind out of the match. It added maybe a little bit of tension, because you were like, oh no, Raquel Gonzalez, she's really such a genuine badass, but nobody likes seeing people genuinely get hurt in the ring, so that was a bit sad. Thankfully, Xia Li is said to be okay now backstage, like the reports are that she's fine, but it was just a bit sad, because this was a big moment, a big NXT Women's Championship match, and it was just a bit overshadowed by the fact she got battered and just splattered on the floor. It's not cool, we didn't like that, but I'd be more than happy to see them have a match again later down the line, because these two, they got some pretty cool chemistry. Samoa Joe was just not in the mood after this. He stormed out, got into the ring, and he was like, Karrion, where the hell are you? I've been looking for you all night. I know you're here now. Let's have a fight. I need to kick your ass. He finally appeared on the big screen. He was like, this is my world. The fact I have this championship means I can go wherever I want. I can do whatever I want. I can hurt whoever I want. And the camera panned down to William Regal. He choked out an old man on the floor. He was passed out. Samoa Joe then tried to chase him out of the arena. He drove off. And it was all just a bit lackluster, a bit sad for me. I didn't like it, so it's all going down. And it's mostly for all the reasons that I mentioned at the very beginning of the video, because the NXT Championship had some serious damage done to it, and Karrion Kross on Raw, so we needed to really salvage both of those things on the next NXT, but we didn't. We had the champion arrive right at the end of the show and beat up an old man. He's very impressive, isn't he? It didn't work. Like, I felt like I wanted to see more of Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe was the one who came off looking like the badass in all this. Karrion Kross just looked like some dude who's scared of fighting Samoa Joe. It wasn't a good look. Hopefully the eventual match with Joe helps to rebuild this aura that Kross once had. I mean, it's just, you're just left really deflated. After the week he's had, it's not been a good week for Kross. So here's to the future. Let's just hope it gets better from here. Apart from that though, this week's NXT is going to get an up, because I thought it was great. All the other stuff was fantastic. It's just all the Kross stuff in isolation isn't working for anybody really. It's just hurt the performer. It's hurt the belt. It's hurt everything, including my soul. So those have been your ups and downs for this week's NXT. Let me know what you think of all of them in the comment section right down below. Don't forget to like this video, share the video, subscribe to all things WhatCulture Wrestling. Follow myself on Twitter at gmorgan04, and follow everyone here at WhatCulture Wrestling at WhatCulture WWE. But more importantly, as always, than all that, please find a way to not melt. Eat some ice cream, put ice cubes down your pants, do whatever you need to do, but if you resemble a puddle like myself, I don't know what you're gonna do. You're gonna drown. I'm sorry. Bye-bye.